He's on mute as well.
Oh, come on. Let's say this. We called it. Between us and Harry, we got the thing right. So it's time for everybody to... up and did the podcast pre-match. So we're allowed technical difficulties this morning. Let's take these off so we can see everybody. 2-0 Liverpool, Gally and Cozzy. It was a frustrating game. I think Cozzy called that. It wasn't going to be a particularly exciting one. But at the same time, had we not got the 2 goals, the media and its uncles and aunties would be talking about the fantastic tactical game plan by Sean Dyche, wouldn't they?
Listen, I thought Dyche did well, to be fair. I thought Everton played well. I thought Everton had to do what they had to do. They can't come out and play football against this Liverpool side. We're far too good. So he has to do what he has to do in certain matches. But I thought first half, they were actually quite attacking. They were actually more further forward. Their press was really good. I thought they could win their battle in midfield, and they fancied to win the battle. And they probably did in some moments in the game. So, listen, mate, these games, especially at Anfield, are never, ever good games. The derbies are never good games. You just got to win them. Just win. It meant more to Liverpool to win, of course, but right now, because of the last 2 results with Spurs and Brighton, Liverpool have to win a football match in the league. Otherwise, if Liverpool don't win today, you'd have 1 and 3, and then we're trying to win a league title. So, relief, let's just say. I can't... I've never been so happy to see Darwin Núñez complete a pass in my life. But at the end of that game, so there we go. But yeah, I can finally breathe again.
Gary, we've seen in the papers, media, and websites and all that, the gossip columns about, rumours of Mo Salah leaving, etc., and who may replace him, etc., etc. We have some excellent players on the team, but is it true that Mo Salah is pretty much our only actual match winner?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's the only one, but he's the only one who does it, because he does it, it seems like, every time we need him to. They rely on him. I'm hoping that, we'll evolve a bit. And I think I won't speak for Kazi, but I think Gakpo has proven at any moment he can win you a match in a big spot. I know he prefers him to Darwin, and we know what Darwin did in the Newcastle match. So at least, he has that moment in him as well. And it was a great pass. He could have been selfish there. Even the announcer said it. I thought Darwin actually did himself well. He gave more effort in the 30 minutes tonight than he did the entire match against Brighton times 2. So maybe he heard the confidence from the off week, but that first half was dicey at times, and we had opportunities going forward, and we kind of blew them. So I think we got to get better at that. When a team that's going to sit back against us gives us chances like they did, putting too many numbers forward, we got to take advantage on the counter. Diaz was slow one time. Szoboszlai picked the wrong pass once to Mo. And, I understand a little bit of the pot shots late when you haven't put anything out there, but you can't do it. They started hitting those in the 38th minute as soon as Young went off. And then it was almost like it was a competition to see who could shoot from further away and miss and make make Pickford look like he's going to make some huge save that he had no bearing jumping for because it was 2 feet over the bar.
Harry, what did you think of the game in terms of we just spoke about, like everything we talked about as a group before the game happened. If we could see it, why couldn't the manager?
I don't know. I think
it's not a criticism, but we labored a lot in that game against a team that wasn't really offering anything in terms of a threat.
We did, yeah. But I think, Diaz against Ashley Young was something we picked up before the game. Ashley Young gets sent off for a silly foul on Luis Diaz. So I think that the game kind of went to plan in the sense that we never looked like we were really in any jeopardy and we won the game. I think that the individual players made some poor decisions in the final third. I think that there was a couple of times in the first half where Mo tried to actually sort of pass the ball beyond Mykolenko and then beat him in a foot race. And Mykolenko dealt with it 2 or 3 times. And you think, all right, Mo, try something else. Like, this thing isn't working. You know what I mean? And I think especially towards the second half, before that first goal went in, we were kind of one pace around the box. So in the midfield, when we were building up, nice and slow, waiting for the right opportunity. And then when the moment came, still quite slow and still quite laboured in the final third. I think we needed a bit of pace. And as soon as Diaz dropped his shoulder and went past someone, he won the penalty. So I think that the players, I think this was a good learning experience for them to go, okay, this is what's required when we play against 10 men as opposed to playing as 10 men. They got the job done, and the game went exactly the way it was supposed to. And there are ways we could improve performance-wise going forward.
Because we spoke about the midfield, whether they would bring something new to the table or whether the derby would overwhelm them. It seemed like it overwhelmed them a little bit to me. I didn't think the midfield functioned as well as we hoped. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I thought Gravenberch was actually okay first half. I thought he was actually looked like one who was picking the ball up, like he could run for. Szoboszlai was poor. I think he was just the potch. I think he had 4 shots from outside the box. And you're like, mate, just build. You never played against 10 men. You've got to stretch the pitch. They want you to take shots, especially Everton. They want you to take shots from outside the box. Be smarter, be clever. I put in the Discord, I thought Elliot was our best player. He came on and he knew exactly what to do. I've just got to come in here, pick the ball up, nice touches, spread the play. His passes out wide to the left back when Gomez came on. I thought Gomez was really good left back when he came on as well. And I thought he was our best midfielder. And that's saying something when he's only on the pitch for 15, 20 minutes. But it looked like the manager got that right as well, where the manager knew exactly what we needed. We spoke about Jota in the pre-match with Jota. He was so smart, mate, in terms of like how he picked up the ball and tried to jink through a couple, because that's what you've got to do to break against a little back line like that. I thought he's unlucky not to get a pen. He gets Tarkowski booked, so Tarkowski's now worried. But yeah, mate, again, it's not great from Szoboszlai again. I thought he was poor against Brighton, but again, he's still finding his feet. I know we've all got, a certain level now, what we've seen on the level we can kind of get to. But early days, all in this game, we just have to win the football match, and Liverpool won the football match, so that's all that matters.
Who's going to jail?
The police are coming for Harry.
I'm just wondering who's going to jail this afternoon, because there's something going on.
They're coming to get Macca's internet.
That's definitely not me.
That was great. There's something new for this podcast. Our listeners are never taken away from these without something special. So of all moments where Maka wouldn't freeze.
It was probably Timuchin and did I see Trevor there? No, we just didn't. It was Timuchin announcing his arrival with sirens. Timuchin,
police escort.
Game or just the result?
Good, man. I see Kazi has aged like 10 years since I saw him yesterday morning, literally.
I had a big beard, my hair was growing out. I was like, I've got to start, you know what I mean? Come on, get your act together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably it was stressful. I mean, really an average performance. But 3 points is 3 points. You don't get any more if you win comfortably. They just like to make it. You knew it was going to be tough when they sit back, especially a Sean Douche team. I mean, they know how to defend if anything. So he's going to, once he made the subs at halftime, I was like, ugh, this is going to be ugly. Found a way in. Penalty, whatever it is. But I'll take the 3 points and we'll see how it goes. I don't think anybody left this game saying, oh, that looked great. But I'm sure these games, I mean, Kazi knows the best. You just got to win them. They're never very pretty, really. So it's just going to be key is getting the 3 points.
Let me ask everybody this, because we like to rag on Jordan Pickford, possibly because it is the morally correct thing to do. But the camera when the penalty happened, made a big deal of his water bottle with all the penalty diagrams on it. Was there any other way that Jordan Pickford could have made himself look more stupid than to have all of those diagrams on the water bottle and then dive the wrong way anyway?
I mean, yeah, for Pickford, really, mate, tonight. Do you know what my favourite thing about him is? I think Salah has a shot in the first half that goes over the bar when he takes one on the edge of the box. And he's dived for the ball. And it's not like a joke, but it's like a Sabutio player. one for the kids. He's just standing like this, and we were like, oh. I was laughing my head off. I was like, what? It's genuinely like a Sabutio goalkeeper. So funny, mate. What a guy.
I think if they had a tactical cam where you could look at the whole field, I think he even dived for the Everton shots that went over our bar as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing I didn't understand about that is, like, why did he have so many freaking charts? Like, it was not like he almost had like even a chart for like where Ali takes us. Like, it's not like it's a cup game where it's going to go to like penalties. So you don't, you couldn't memorize Szoboszlai tendencies or something. Like it's going to be Mo, 95% chance. If Mo has been subbed, it's going to be somebody else. I'm sure he could have memorized Mo. I really think that was an old water bottle that he brought from like the League Cup or some shit.
Yeah, he picked it up and went, huh?
This is my cup bottle.
Hey, this Richardson?
Yeah, that was the best part, was that they made the big deal about the water bottle. Like, the announcer acted one like he had never seen one before. He's like, and there it is, Jordan Pickford's water bottle, and look at the diagrams. And then Beglin's like, why'd the dope pick up the regular water bottle then? He didn't even look at it. And the best part is, what would it have done for him? Because I think out of Mo's like last 8 penalties, most have either gone to the left or down the middle. So like the fact that he actually went to the right was actually a little bit different in this spot. And it was just so funny. Like, I just feel like he jumps, he dives. There was one point he tapped one over that was clearly going over, and we got a corner. And I thought to myself, you learn nothing after the doink. Like, you learn nothing, you moron. Like, you're still going up high for no reason with your little arms. But yeah, 2 goals in the win, I guess, is the way to look at this. Breathe for the rest of the day. Didn't ruin my day.
No. And the rest
let me ask this.
Let
me ask this in terms of the refereeing, because it's been a topic of discussion, obviously, around Liverpool. Ashley, I think, completely justified 2 yellows and a red. But there was discussion about whether Kanate should have got a yellow there just before he was taken off. Was that a well-reffed Merseyside there? Because they can be quite wild sometimes. Or were we seeing a little bit of softness towards us because of the absolute craptitude of the previous decisions, especially the goal not allowed?
I think I want to take this right, because the derby thing is a thing. I felt Young was unlucky. I do think they're both yellows, by the way. But in a derby, you usually get a free one. You do get a free one, whether you like it or not. I know the rules are the R2 sending off, and it is a sending off. I'm not arguing. But sometimes in this game, you get one. And the referee will go, listen, you've got one. Kanate got one. And he got a favour. Because that is a yellow card. That's a sending off all day of the week. Right? So, and the manager, by the way, super smart. Get him off right now within the next 30 seconds. Like, Matip didn't even go for a run. You are on the pitch. You will warm up on the pitch. Like, you are, you know what I mean? So, but the referee set a stall out early doors with the Tarkovsky is a booking as well. But he's got the right back book and the centre half booked for Everton. So, but I thought the referee kind of got it right. But I do think it's a penalty on Jota at the end of the first half. I do think it probably is still. So, I don't know, mate. I feel like these games, and this is where football's going, by the way, from 25 years ago. You can't just go out and kick people anymore, because you can't have that leveler. The great equaliser in football that's why you don't get these many FA Cup shocks anymore, because you can't go out and kick people. You can't go out and just welly people anymore. Football's changing, but I do still want to see a bit of anger in my football. So I do want to see, especially in these games, I want to see a bit of fight. I want to see a bit of argument. I want to see that. So I do think, as much as it is a sending off for Young, we got a free one. And it's not, this goes back to the point of when Klopp made the thing about the replay for Spurs and that, and the big uproar about this. He's done that to get those decisions. He's done that to get decisions down the line. He doesn't want to replay the game against Spurs. Let's get out of the way. But he's done it to go, we've been done here, and you're going to give us a few favours down the line. And you've got one. And we take it. But you know what I mean? It is what it is, but kind of thing. But I don't know what the other guys think, but I don't want to lose that anger in football anymore. I want to see a few nasty little tackles here and there.
Let me, just because we mentioned him, and I thought it was great to see him, and I know Tamuchin will like this, but I'll go to Harry first. Introduction of Matip, I thought, changed a little bit of how we were building out from the back, because he was carrying the ball forward in probably in ways that we would expect Trent to do it, and it kind of caused another problem for the Everton back line. Is this maybe something that we probably should have looked at from the start, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, I think more towards when he first came in, Konate showed that he can carry the ball forward the way that Matip does. And so he looked like a really good Matip replacement in the way that Gomez just doesn't tend to do that. And I'm not sure why that wasn't really what he was up to today. First time Matip got the ball, he carried it forward, played a little 1-2 with someone, and I thought, okay, cool. So he definitely got his place in games like these, especially when they went down to 10. It was useful to get Matip into the game. I think Liverpool were really smart in how they built up today, in the sense that I was curious before the game, how are we going to use Tsimikas if he starts? Because if he's going to be a centre-back, that's not his best game. But if we don't play with the three at the back and he does get forward, are we going to get exposed? And Liverpool actually were really clever in that I think we used Alisson at times to be that third centre-back in build-up, or to be that third centre-back in our structure. And so Tsimikas was able to get right up the pitch nice and early, and that meant that then Diaz could come inside and Jota could drop into midfield. And so that 5 versus 4 that Everton wanted in midfield, they didn't have it because we had Jota in the midfield along with our 4 midfielders. And so I think we were really smart structurally, and that's why we were starting to dominate the game. And then Young gets sent off, and then it becomes a totally different kind of game. And Matip's ability to get forward, especially when they've had a player sent off. So our centre-backs can go 10 yards further forward for the rest of the game. And so it's not so much of a risk to have someone step out of that structure and try and break lines by dribbling. So I think the game suited Matip once it went down to 10. I think for that kind of outside role that you have to play, I think the speed of Konate and his ability in 1v1s makes him the better pick. So I think it was the right call to start Konate. And once Everton went down to 10, it was useful that we could bring Matip on.
Tamuchin, do you think that Matip allowed a better balance, especially with Elliott, for what Salah was doing? Because in the first half, he was almost isolated, and he got that 1v1 that never worked out. Whereas, and we talked about how good Elliott was when he came on. It just seemed to be a lot more like the old Liverpool once was Matip, Elliott, Trent, and Salah on that right side.
Yeah, I mean, can we just put Trent back on the right side? I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face, because that is really still messing everything up in my mind, including the left. But yeah, Matip, I thought was a good move. I was wondering, like, if you guys noticed on what you guys thought of it, actually. I was shocked to see when it was Konate and Van Dijk out there. Normally, in the past, we've always seen the long balls targeted at the other center back. And it felt like they were all going to Calvert-Lewin on Van Dijk. And they were trying to go off of Van Dijk and bounce it off of that. That's something I don't think we've ever seen before, because everybody normally avoids Van Dijk and goes after Matip or Konate or whoever is next to Van Dijk. I thought that was really odd that that's the way they played it. And I thought Van Dijk did well overall. I don't know if they were more counting on the fact that he could win, and he did win a few balls over Van Dijk, or the fact that Van Dijk can react faster than Konate if he is to win the ball. I don't know what did you guys think of that? I thought that was really odd, because
I thought that was something we talked about before in the post match. Was one of the questions I asked was, are Everton going to go and aim direct balls down that channel because we can be susceptible? And I was thinking more of how Van Dijk these days, without the pace post injury, can sometimes get caught out by those. But I think you're correct. I think it was almost like old Van Dijk again. He dealt with literally everything that came to him, and he was organised. And once Matip came on, it almost became an even better thing because he didn't have to look after Konate, because Konate was a little bit wild. I thought just in some of his barging, etc. And it being Everton, they're prone to an occasional smash and grab on teams, and we were hoping it wasn't us. But I think it was something that I certainly thought before the game that they may have targeted. It's Everton. They were never going to get it right.
When you play that way, though, Tim, I think, right, you want to play on the defender that you can beat in a foot race, because you want the second ball.
Yeah.
You're not going up for the header to win the first header. You want the second ball. Even if Van Dijk wins it and your midfielder picks it up, and then you've got a straight run. Where teams used to target Matip, for example, because he was slower than Van Dijk, but Konate's quicker than Van Dijk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think if you play on that side, and Konate's also stronger, so I think you can kind of fancy yourself in that sense. I just think the manager in Dyche and Klopp, you can see the difference in terms of the subs. I thought he got all his subs wrong and Liverpool got all our subs right. because I thought our subs made us better. Because I thought Gomez was excellent, I thought Elliott was excellent, I thought Darwin was good, really good as well when he came on. So our subs made us better. Matip was brilliant. There was definitely one down the channel where Matip just intercepted the ball off Beto, and it looked like they were in behind, but Matip got back and done really well. So that's the difference, I think. But I think when you play that way, you want to play on the defender. You can beat in a foot race for the second ball. Because if you knock it down close to the corner, then you're behind.
Let me bring Harry and Gally into this one, because I have a question that I thought during the game. I didn't mention in the Discord, but McAllister lost the ball a few times in a few stray passes, and it's something he's done numerous times in the past few games. Not hugely detrimental all the time, but is the McAllister at number 6 experiment, let's call it, is it coming to its natural end, and maybe we have to look elsewhere with him, or is it just still part of the bedding in process for McAllister?
I mean, I think it should be coming to an end, but I don't think it's going to come to an end. We have been through this with Jurgen Klopp. When he picks his best 11 and decides, like, someone has to change this. So that means Endo has to really have some performances in the Europa League when he gets his chance, or in the League Cup games, and then or we have to get to January and a new player comes in, because we're not going to change it with how it is. He likes McAllister in that role. He likes the balance of this team, and we are sitting top of the table after 9 matches. So, we should be very happy with the performance, though I do think McAllister has to be a little bit more diligent playing in that role. And remember, he doesn't have 2 other midfielders behind him, or a guy like Caicedo cleaning things up if he is the one to get caught in possession, like he had at Brighton and like he has with De Palma at Argentina. So it's a little different when he's in these roles there. So needs to be better, but no, I don't think we're going to see him stop starting in big matches anytime soon. Harry?
Yeah, likewise. I think you're spot on there, Gally. And I think what we found in the transfer market this summer is that to find, I think that the modern number 6 is like the most valuable player in the current game, because to find someone who can be the destructive player that puts a foot in, protects you against counter-attacks, breaks up the play, gets a tactical foul, and also can resist opposition pressure and help you build up and get you to play through the lines and do all of it. Like, there's 3 or 4 of them in the world, and they already play for big clubs. Yeah. And so you're either paying 100 million for someone like Caicedo, or you're having to go with like the next best thing. And so at the moment, Liverpool have kind of got half of that number 6 in McAllister in possession stuff, and half of it in Endo, and they're having to decide who we play and when. And long term, I think that this project, this Liverpool 2.0, peaks once they get a player in that 6th position who can do all of it, and then you can get McAllister further forward. And so Bajcetic could eventually become that player. His deficiencies are physical, and he's not fully developed yet. Andre also is someone that we've been linked with a lot from Fluminense. I like the look of him. He's only 5'6", but other than that, he's got pretty much everything that he needs. But for the meantime, I think in the same way that Jordan Henderson used to do a job at the number 6 until we could get Fabinho in, I think we're going to see McAllister do a job in the 6. And the fact we can be top of the league and the project's not finished yet bodes really well for where this is going, I think.
I think there's a point there, though, right? There's a point for the number 6 thing. Liverpool do not panic, and we'll just carry on until we get there, man. I remember when we lost out on Van Dijk in the summer, and everyone just went, sign a centre half. And then they went, no, we're not signing a centre half. We're going to just wait for him when we get him in. And it's the thing. I think Andre is the answer. I still think we'll do Andre in January. I still think he wants to win that trophy, which is completely understandable. And there's also a part of this where there's a human aspect of a footballer where he wants to win something. Yes, he wants to come to you, but I still want to win this with my club here before I come. You have to be a human. As much as Liverpool can go in and bully Fluminense, what if they have a player in 2 years that Liverpool want to sign again? And they're going to go, fuck off, no. A bit like Liverpool. Yeah. I remember when Liverpool sold Coutinho to Barcelona, and he basically said, don't come back. You can have him. Don't come back for years because we're not selling you the player. So because you pissed us off. So there's an argument to that. The McAllister thing, by the way, we're going to bring this up every single game. He's not going to play brilliant at all, but he's doing a job because Liverpool are winning football matches.
Yeah.
It counteracts everything, any argument that we can all have. yeah, but we should do this, we should do that. Yeah, but Liverpool won. Should the manager go, yeah, but we won. And as much as that's like, yeah, but we're not perfect. City 1-0, by the way. That we're not perfect. It is what it is. Get over it. Get till January. Be in touching distance, and then let's kick on.
Yeah.
So,
the thing about McAllister as well, just in the long term, is that I think it's worth pointing out he's not going to get taller and he's not going to get better at winning 1v1s physically. So we're seeing this is what it's going to be, right? It's going to be, he's going to give you so much in possession and he's going to be a weakness out of possession. And that's not, I don't think that therefore he's not playing as well as he should be, or that if we just give it time, that's going to change. This is how it's going to be. So we're going to have to solve the problems that creates and reap the rewards of it until someone else comes into that position.
I think there are certain players in midfield. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I think there are certain players in midfield. Like I think McAllister is one of those guys that, you know, he's. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being 5'6", Harry. I'll let you know. But but you know, there are certain like midfield players. Like I think McAllister is one of them. That not maybe as a defensive midfielder because he does not have like the size to win the headers and stuff like that. But they know how to cut passing lanes, and I think that's why if he moves up, I think you get more out of him defensively because he knows where to position himself to cut passing lanes and fill voids and stuff like that. So he's very valuable defensively there. But when you pull him back and expect him to play defensive midfielder, it's kind of like a totally different role. It's definitely a lot more physical than actually cutting passing lanes. It's almost like you are attacking the ball like as it's being received most of the time. So I think you will get more out of him. But who does that leave out? Because if you guys are bringing Andre in,
well, I mean,
does that leave out McAllister? Or no, I mean, I'm saying like in terms of like the starting three, your ideal three, who do you guys shift out then? Do you move McAllister up? Because Gravenberg has been impressive from what we've seen so far.
I think if everyone's fit, I'd have, if it's Andre, let's just say, and he comes to the level that we expect, I'd have Andre, Szoboszlai, and Curtis Jones.
Oh, I totally forgot about Jones, your boy.
I mean, I just think he just doesn't lose the ball. But I mean, going back to the McAllister thing, by the way, his pass, by the way, to play Darwin in for the second goal is a joke. It's an unbelievable pass, you know, because he takes the extra second to wait for Darwin to make that run, and he wins the ball back. So that's why he's there as well. So that's the perfect case in point. He wins the ball back and gets the ball off quick to Darwin. Takes that extra second, Darwin makes the run. There you go, 2-0, Liverpool win the game. So
here's the thing I'm thinking, though, is because we just spoke about the importance of the number 6 in modern football, and he has lost the ball fairly regularly for a high-level player. Is that the one position, to me at least, that's the one position you shouldn't be losing the ball? And although we're winning games, is that a weakness that other teams can now look at and exploit and then just say, get McAllister turned towards his own goal and then pick up the sloppy pass he's going to try and give off?
Sure, but that was also the tactic against Fab for the last 8 months that he was here. So, I mean, I think that's what happens if you put yourself in that position. And I think he has to get a little bit smarter and a little better with that. And I think he will. I think that all in all, this is what happens when you get a 2-0 victory. And though it was dicey, it was really not that far ever in question. So ultimately, we're picking at straws here, nitpicking to find something poor about that performance. All in all, I thought it wasn't great, but they got the job done. To Kazi's point, it was 3 points in a derby. You just take them. You go top of the league, and you sit back now, and you get a little extra time to rest before your next match, and you see what the rest of the league, you know, unfolds like, with City already up by a goal, Newcastle up by a goal. You know, it'll be interesting how the rest of this weekend plans out.
We'll welcome Trevor and his Harry Carey performing phone. And we'll say, Trevor, how did you feel about the game?
Yeah, it was as everybody thought. It was a sloppy derby that I got my red in, so I'm happy about that. Couldn't have happened to a nicer older person, and it's always fun to call somebody younger than me old. That was just, yeah, that was a mess of a game, but 3 points is 3 points. Mo 2 goals, regardless of how much anxiety came from both of those. Yeah, I'd say onward and upward from here.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the use of Alisson, Harry, you were talking about him using as a third centre back. He has the Bruce Grobbelaars about him. And I'm old enough to remember Bruce Grobbelaar. He's a superb goalkeeper, but not good if you're on heart tablets like I am. But he is such an important part of how we build up when he's on his game, isn't he?
Yeah, he's massively important, not just because of his ability to play a range of passes, but his ability to see what pass he needs to play. Because there are a lot of goalkeepers now have to be involved in build-up, but you go, the coach has told me that I've got to go short, so I'm going to go short every time, even when it's a really bad idea. Or the coach has told me to go short, but I'm afraid, so I'm going to go long, and that's wrong. Alisson will go, okay, we need a chip pass over this line of pressure. No, we need a short pass in here. I need to play this pass, but I need to wait an extra half second and then play it. So he's really, really, I think, effective as part of this build-up unit. And having him in that role, I mean, it carries its risk. Remember what happened against Brighton when he was basically in the Joel Matip position, and then Liverpool lost the ball and there's an open goal. That's not on him. He's not done anything wrong. He's doing his job. But that's the downside of using him in this way. So I wonder if, long term, we're getting more into transfer window stuff, but I think that this project finishes for Liverpool and you get a number 6 who can do it all and a left-sided centre-back. I think that's when you see this team kind of reach its full potential. But in the meantime, using Alisson as a way of building up with 3, and then when you're against the ball, either having a midfielder drop in or sometimes Trent would drop into the middle of that back 3 as well. And so he could play those, because if he can get time on the ball, Trent will hurt you with a pass. Yeah. And he's finding that he can get time on the ball if he's in between the 2 centre-backs during build-up. So sometimes Trent does that as well. So I think that the way we use Alisson was really instructive today. It meant that Tsimikas didn't have to do too much defending. And I think long-term, the system that we're playing, the fact that we're top of the league and we haven't quite got all the pieces we need to play this system properly shows what the potential is of this team, especially because, how many times have we seen Man City not play great, but they're still top of the league in January, February, and then they click. And so for us to be top of the league right now, when we're giving up easy goals, not playing players in the right position, games like today where we're not great, but we've won the game, this stands us in really good stead long term.
I think it's going to be great though, isn't it, boys, right? When we sign a left-sided centre-half and a defensive midfielder, but we're still going to win all 4 trophies anyway without them. So who's that? There you
go. Tamuchin and Trevor, the agent of chaos came on and delivered us with the great, fantastic pass for the second goal. But he also, I think he played out on the left a lot because Jota seemed to retain the central striker role. It was good to see that he had an impact coming on. But I think Tamuchin, you keep saying this, he does perform much better out on that left side, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, if you looked at it before he came to us, even when he was central, you looked at any of his heat maps and stuff, he likes straying towards left. That's how he plays. Even when he was central, that's where he plays. And I think he's a lot more impressive coming off the bench, and this was a good game for him. I have to give to Klopp. I thought, I think Kazi was mentioning earlier, the substitutions being dead on, because normally, we didn't do the take Jota out, put this guy in kind of a deal, because I thought Jota was one of the few ones who actually was penetrating the defense and making something happen. And you add the Nunez to that's when it's really effective, and you kind of started seeing some areas, and obviously they're horrified of his pace, so that always helps the cause. And in a game like that, when we have the leads and it's a tight lead, I think he is the guy to have on the pitch, even more so than Mo. I think he is the guy I have to on the pitch, because when he gets an outlet pass, and that is a peach of a pass from McAllister, the dude has so much pace, and his decision-making has gotten a lot better. I mean, even they were saying, normally, I think the Nunez from 8 months ago tries to score that instead of passing that. I think his decision-making has gotten a lot better.
Trevor, what do you think?
Yeah, just instinctively, I think I led the chorus of the bar yelling, "Darwin, look up." But by the time we got to look, he had already passed it, where we're so conditioned to him just being that guy that's going to take it himself. And it was so refreshing. I feel bad for James Tarkowski for having to wear white shorts with how much he was probably shitting himself with Darwin running at him and Mo to the right, because that was a devil's triangle that he was in. Don't go look up the real definition of Devil's Triangle. Don't leave that out of your search history. But regardless, I really think Darwin as a sub, and that's something that a lot of people, I'm sitting here, I'm going to bang the drum for substitutions. Darwin as a sub is an absolute menace. And he changed the game. And yeah, he has his fluffs. He does all these things that everybody pulls their hair out over. But sorry, man. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm sorry for the hair references. I'm sorry. But either way, he's a guy that can just come in and change the game in so many positive facets that I saw a bunch of people going like, oh man, he's got to start the next game. Why when he can come in and give us half an hour of absolute terror, does he need to start? And granted, you can get 60 minutes of terror versus 30. It's the holiday season. You obviously want more terror, but I think that him coming off the bench until he really solidifies himself in Klopp's eyes as that full-time presser, as that full-time commitment to the middle. And we've been talking this entire time about how much better he is off left. I don't think Diaz is relinquishing that anytime soon. So just give him this role and have him flourish in it.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that you call out the bald heads there, Trevor, but you do well. Harry's luxuriant head of hair is staring us in the face.
I mean, what I'm going to say is here, right?
I immediately called myself out on it. I apologize. I know when I strike a nerve, and I wanted to just sweep that away immediately.
Take that fucking John Joe Shelby shit you got on. Take it off. But now, going back to it, right? The starting of Darwin Núñez, you can start the next game. It's Toulouse and all. Start.
Yeah.
I don't care if you start. Actually, I'm going. I don't want you to start. I don't want to see it. Fuck that, I'm going. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is the thing about Darwin, mate. He's nowhere near tactically enough ready to play for Liverpool. Especially in that kind of game. What does he do against five at the back, really? Come on, joking, aren't you? You need someone who's clever and, again, smart on the ball. We spoke about this pre-match. That's where Jota was great today, in terms of like trying to get him behind and trying to do something and force fouls and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, mate, he knows his position in the team right now. And as soon as Cody Gakpo's fit, which I'm assuming he's probably going to be fit by next week, Cody Gakpo comes straight back in.
Yeah.
Harry, I have something for you now, just because I thought about it, and I looked up the stats. We have created exactly one goal from corners this season. Just watching corner after corner going into the well-drilled Sean Dyche team of defenders to head every ball out. Are we just really, really poor at corners, or are we just not smart about what types of corners to play against the teams we're playing against? We seem to have more joy from the short corners, which would have made sense because it ruined Everton's plan. But it just seems such a waste of possession to keep smashing the ball in to a team with four big lads trying to head it out.
Yeah, I think there's been a trend for Liverpool since the beginning of this season and actually across the Premier League of trying to get more in-swingers to the near post, which was not in fashion.
I know.
You know what I mean? It was more like out-swingers onto the penalty spot was more the thing up until the start of the season. I don't actually know why teams are tending to do that. So every time I see it, I'm like, well, it doesn't beat the first defender. It just gets cleared away. One thing that Liverpool are really good at, and I don't know how this gets totted up statistically, is the second phase of corners. Yeah. So you whip it in and you think, well, they're going to put two players on Van Dijk. He's not going to just float it and score a header. But if you've got someone on the edge of the box who can cross it back in, or someone on the edge of the box who can have a shot, we saw that was how Szoboszlai scored his first goal. Was against Bournemouth, was a corner that got cleared, and he was in the right place on the edge of the box. So I think that we're still working that out, and we're still one of the better teams in the league at approaching it. And we're not getting necessarily the results to show for it. I think the idea behind the in-swingers is that Szoboszlai plays these lovely flat set pieces, which like people don't necessarily do as much, right? It's harder to just like get under that and head that away. Yeah. And so I think there was an idea that, we're going to use this weapon and it's going to be great. It's not really worked out yet. We're still top of the league, so it doesn't matter so much at the moment, but that is something where I think we could improve.
Yep. I think Szoboszlai's corners, by the way, were absolutely dreadful. Absolutely awful. Why is a lad who's 6'3" taking corners? Is it just me? Yeah, like he thinks that's
Like, was it in preseason where like we were like, holy cow, he better take every freaking corner kick?
I know.
They were all dead on.
But Liverpool, I think Liverpool were number 1 last year for set piece goals. I think we were number 1 in the league. So you've got Trent and Robbo. I know Robbo's a poor, by the way, but Trent's got a really good whip on him. And you're just like, I know you've got this lad here, just a flat little weird corner to the front post. Done like 3-4 times. He's 6'3". Get him in the box. It's like when England played Harry Kane and put him on corners. Remember that? Under Roy Hodgson days. What are you doing? 6'3", get him in. Fucking crap.
Well, we talked in general about like in the start of my time on this podcast, way back when in the olden days when I had hair, I didn't. About Klopp looking for those fine margins. Looking for that.
Where was I?
Hey, rocking out and right. I
didn't say where they had the hair.
Hey,
just put that into all of your heads there for laughing. I didn't say where the hair
The virtual background can be anything you want it to be.
Hey, Mac, fair play to you, fella. A podcast on teletext. Unbelievable. 35-year podcast.
But in terms of like marginal gains, it seems like we have that throwing coach. I don't even know whether he's still with us or not as the part-time guy. But it seems like maybe we should be looking to take advantage of how teams are defending corners these days. We saw our set pieces as well. Our free kicks are getting lashed into the wall, etc. Is it just a matter of waiting for a bit of time to work on those things, and we'll just deal with what we have with the training time that's available? Maybe having to wait until after the Europa League group stages is done, or is it just a problem that we just can't seem to figure out in terms of the players we have?
I don't know, man. I guess I'm more frustrated that we do the same thing repeatedly. It feels like. Yeah. I think in the second half, it felt like we were trying stuff different, occasionally playing it short and then swinging the ball to the other side and getting the cross, like an in-swinging cross from the opposite side instead. So I actually like seeing that more because it really depends on the team as well, right? And I do feel, by the way, I don't know why, but Konate, I was shocked to hear that Konate doesn't have a Premier League goal. So all those goals he scored were in Europe. Didn't he say that in the broadcast? I never fact-checked it. But I could have sworn he said.
I don't know. I couldn't hear any of that over the sheer Everton hoorah hoorah.
What was up with that? It was like a local broadcast or some shit. I was like, "Is this not the national broadcast? What is this?"
I literally felt like I was listening to a Boston Celtics game with the amount of like home team stuff right there. It was wild.
But I think somehow with Matip, Van Dijk and Matip have a better pairing in terms of like spacing and stuff in those set pieces compared to Van Dijk and Konate, which is odd because obviously Konate has more size. I don't know, it's just a matter of, being used to each other, using each other's screens a lot better or what. But I thought we got better when Matip got in there for set pieces as well, oddly.
Yeah. No, you're all right, by the way. Yeah, he scored 2 against Benfica back-to-back in the quarters. And if you remember correctly, he scored in the FA Cup semi-final.
That's okay, because I was like, man, I remember him scoring, but it's odd that he's never done a Premier League goal.
No, he's never done a league goal. I think the one, we're going to wrap this up. But Konate, mate, you can tell he's still a kid sometimes. You can tell he's still a young man who's still kind of plying his trade. You know what I mean? By the way, I'm not me digging him out. When we played, he was our best player by a mile. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he has got those big moments in, but you can still see sometimes we need to realise he is a kid and he is still going to take time because he has been a bit poor this season. When he's played, I thought he was poor against Brighton when he came on. I didn't think he was fantastic today. He should have been sent off. So... yeah, maybe on Matip. It's also difficult for us right now because Matip's playing so well. Because Matip found like a little lease of life again. So it looks like if it was me next time, I'd probably do Matip and Van Dijk.
Before we wrap up and go, I just want to make sure everybody smashes or gently taps their like and subscribe button on our social medias and Facebook.
Caress the like button.
Caress the like button. Make sure you're following us, join in our Discord discussions. And as well, we have our shows next week. The Morning Coffee Show, sponsored by Reckless Coffee. Get your fill with them, guys. There you go. And then we have obviously the Monday podcast, the EPL show, the Thursday podcast with the Ragamuffins, me, Trevor, and Brian. with the technical difficulties.
The technical difficulty gang.
Yeah, the absolute ne'er-do-wells.
What I have, one more question, and it's only for Trevor, Harry, and Timuchin. How long do you guys think it'll be before Cozzy falls asleep after we get off this podcast?
He falls asleep like he's gonna watch Premier League, lean back. I give him like halftime, he'll be gone. So for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Cozzy, what do you reckon?
Yeah, half-time's probably a stretch. City are 2-0 up already. It's not even like Brighton are making this entertaining for me, they're not. But no, mate, yeah, I'm fucking tired. It's been a stressful week, but you win the game. It's all that matters. Harvey Elliott, man of the match. Unbelievable. Or Joe Gomez. And
I think those are as good notes as any to end the podcast. I just thank everybody for watching us, and thank everybody for contributing there. And we will see everybody next week. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend. Up the Tricky Reds. Here's the 70s power music for Gali.